Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello everyone and welcome to This is Football. Welcome to another Liverpool stream, ladies and gentlemen. We are here to talk Fenway Sports Group. They need to back Jurgen Klopp this summer transfer window. Funnily enough, just before we went live, there's been news about Luis Diaz being linked to Saudi Arabia as well. So there's so many Liverpool different topics for us to discuss. Sorry for us being late. I was actually here on time for the first time ever. You guys are never going to believe. And I understand if you don't believe because I'm late even when I do solo streams. But it's not my fault. It's my guests' fault that we're late. But anyway, so many different Liverpool topics to discuss today. The FSG Out movement, why we need this ownership group to feel the pressure of the fan base to help Jurgen Klopp and the team that we currently have constructed. There is so many different things for us to discuss. I don't want to keep stopping the stream to say this. So every single person watching us right now or on the replay, because I know a whole lot of you guys like to watch us on the replay, please don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're ready to do so. Every single person watching us right now, this very second, slap that like button, subscribe to the channel. And in the words of Johnny, why would anyone listen and not press the like button? Why? Like the video now and subscribe to This is Football. And of course, the celebrity is here. There's been rumors, that the reason why he's late is because his donkey didn't make it on time. As you guys know, it's difficult, riding a donkey and expecting the donkey to ride like a horse. And it's kind of related to Liverpool Football Club because, we kind of give, the energy that we expect a donkey to race as quick as a horse. It's crazy. Joining us on the channel, of course, is the man, the myth, the legend, the pilot of the FSG Out plane himself, man like Kurdish. How you doing, bro?
Hey, what's going on, my man? Sam, bro, we need to stop with this pilot talk. It's not good for my brand. The last week after the stream, I got 5 DMs from I don't want to say top reds, but a part of the demographic, and they're just abusing me. And one of them was saying, "Oh, did you pay for the plane?" I said, "No." He said, "Oh, I thought you did." I thought, "No, I didn't. I organized it, so you can't abuse me because that wasn't your question. Your question was, did I pay for it?" And I was just getting abused, man, because they all watch it. So big up all the top Preds that watch This Is Football and tune in and like the video. Make sure you subscribe because clearly we're winding you guys up, and that in itself is a big win for me. I don't know about Hussam, but seeing you get
100%.
stressed because of me. Hey, we're winning.
Hey,
But
I
good to
pissed
be
them
on, my
all off
brother.
today with my Henderson tweet, but I don't want to talk politics on the channel. But it is what it is. It is
We'll
what it is.
talk anyway.
Anyway, comments. 150 people in here already. We ain't even started. We haven't even started yet. So, like the video, subscribe, and let's just get, the show started. Because I actually saw Kurdish tweet about the FSG yesterday. And it's funny because people like myself and Kurdish, as soon as something like Szoboszlai happens, we get added, we get DM'd like, "Oh, where are you now? Where have you been hiding? Let your apologies be as loud as your disrespect." Imagine their standards are so low that we just signed Dominic Szoboszlai and everyone is DMing us. Oh my God, you better apologize. All of that because we just signed one guy. We signed one guy in Szoboszlai and people were expecting apologies. Hey, we haven't signed anyone since then. I saw Kurdish kind of having a mini meltdown on Twitter, and I feel the same as him. Yesterday, I went live on YouTube. I was supposed to do like a Henderson Colwill kind of like transfer video, and it turned for an FSG rant for the first 40 minutes. I just went in on this ownership group who absolutely deserve every single word of that rant. So, it's interesting today. The leader of the FSG Out movement on YouTube. Big up Colwill Red as well for continuously sharing FSG Out. Propaganda on Twitter. That's what we need. I'm gonna shout him out, even though he gets a lot of hate. I think he's doing the right thing on Twitter 100%. So, Kurdish, talk to me, my brother. What are you saying on the whole situation for Liverpool this summer?
I'd like an apology. I don't know about you, But I'd like a fucking apology. I'm sorry for swearing. I apologize, but we're in prime time TV. It's not even 11 p.m. stream. I apologize. We probably got a few kids watching. So, yeah, I need an apology. I need an apology from James Pearce. I need an apology from every single employee at Redmen TV. I need an apology from the Anfield Wrap. I need an apology from every single one of them. Because what this summer has shown, and I saw it in a tweet, I can't remember who tweeted it, but big up this person, is that the project, the midfield rebuild that should have started 24 months ago, like we've all been asking for, is now happening in 6 weeks or so. And if you don't see how that's a problem, not just from a footballing perspective, just from a life perspective, whether you own your own business, whether it's a small business, whether it's a big business, whether it's your own personal job or whatever it is, if you don't see how you're cramming 6 weeks what you should have started 24 months ago, you know you're going to start having holes in this. However well you do in the project, the attention you should have given it 24 months ago, you can't physically cram within 6 weeks, my guy, within one window. So now you're left in this market where you're looking for a six, which is experienced, still fit within your budget, but also top quality. And they're very rare to come by just due to how things are. You can then go 2 projects, which is great, but you've lost 3 midfielders already. You might lose your captain as well. And this is all because you've neglected things for 24 months in that midfield. And everything went crazy last year and everyone went okay. And now they're panicking and it's all coming to a bust. And it's like, we don't want to sit here and say, oh, we're point scoring, but if you'd just done things correctly, if you'd bought a replacement for Gini when the time was right, if you'd built on Thiago and bought a younger midfielder in, if you bought a Kone in and a Dominic in a year ago, 2 years ago, they'd be ready by now. They'd be developed by now. But instead, you continue to say we're waiting for the right player. And now your whole strategy is shifted. You're not waiting for the right player. You're looking for any player within a release clause that fits your category. You went for, I'm looking for any player to, God, I'm looking for one player in a specific category, and if we can fit in within budget, that's going to work. So everything that you stood by in your strategy, you've completely fucked. Again, I apologize for swearing, but it's all your negligence and your lack of planning coming back to haunt you right now, and it's taken you 2 years, but you can only keep gambling. Any gambler, that's the whole gambler's predicament. You keep gambling, and eventually you lose. Eventually, it's going to eat you. And we talk about it all the time, but you should never be in this situation. You strengthen when you're on top. And when fans do ask for it, don't belittle them. Don't sit there respectfully and think, oh, these fans just want big signings. No, because as I said, if we'd got 2 project signings and 1 ready for Genie, then project signings would be flourishing right now. They'd be flourishing. And this team would be ready in midfield. But instead, Hussam, do you know how unlikely it is that if you bring 5 signings in, all 5 of them are going to hit it? That doesn't happen. Just law of averages. At least 2 will probably go wrong. So all of a sudden, I'm back down to 3. And then I'm looking at Curtis Jones or Jordan Henderson as my options. Do you see what this is? Do you know what's crazy, Hussam? You were top of the world at one point, and you could have just twinkled a little bit without being greedy. You didn't need to be greedy. That's all it came down to fundamentally. You didn't need to be as greedy as you were because you were on top of the world. You could have had anybody you want. You could have put them in, but instead, you let your standards drop. It's arrogance, it's negligence, and it's just poor planning. It's piss poor planning. You're Liverpool Football Club.
I mean, I completely agree with you. It is absolutely horrible planning, and this is why we're here to begin with. People need to realize it's actually not normal to replace like 6 players in the same window. It's actually genuinely not normal. People think like this is normal behavior. This is not normal behavior. And what Kurdish said is exactly 100% true. It is 100%, 1,000,000% true. It's not typical for a football club to do an entire rebuild in one summer and for every single player to hit. And that's why yesterday when I was talking about the likes of Lavia and others, I said like, okay, Lavia has the potential to become one of the best, but it's crazy putting Fabinho expectations on him now. And you know, I've always said this.
Sorry,
Look,
Sam, I'm sorry to
go on,
stop you. I'm sorry, but just
go
on,
on.
it's absurd. It's absurd when people think, oh, Lavia can come in and you could, a DM, Sam, give me any team that's won a DM with a 19 or won anything with a DM at 19 or 20 years old. That's the one position you need experience in more than any other. any other on that pitch, I'm sorry to cut you, my brother, but when people just say to
No,
me,
it's
"Oh,
all
bring
good.
Lavia in and bring Friento Lloris in," that position is one of the most difficult positions on the pitch. It connects everything from your midfield to your defense, and it stops transitions more than anything, which is what we were conceding in tons last year. And you want to bring me a 19-year-old and a 20-year-old at the highest level? You're putting Lavia up against Rodri, Hussam. It's a baby against a man. Let's be honest. But go ahead, brother.
It's
Apologies.
it's insane, and you know, just by law of averages, which you are correct, it's gonna be extremely rare that every single player works out. That's just the fact of the matter. And I was speaking on the whole Lavia situation yesterday. I was like, you're putting Fabinho expectations on a kid. Like, I think Lavia is gonna come good. I think Lavia is gonna do really well. All of that, fantastic. But I don't think he's gonna come in and suddenly, like, you know, because here's the thing: people need to understand. People like Lavia in that age group is gonna make mistakes because he's a young player. He's still developing. They're gonna make mistakes. They're gonna make errors. It's not like he's gonna come in and automatically be compared to like Rodri as the best DM in the league. And my thing is, like, the reason why, look, me and Kurdish differ in our approaches. Kurdish is 100% FSG's fault. I'm like 80% FSG's fault, and I blame Klopp for a lot. But I look at the current state of our squad, and I look at what Klopp has been wanting before this window even started. And I've always mentioned this, and I just want to take you guys on a journey. He wanted Jude Bellingham, who, once again, some people like selection want to be edgy. Let's just be realistic. If you're a player of that age, you signed for Real Madrid, you're special. There's a reason why every single one of us would take Tchouaméni and Camavinga tomorrow. You know, even if you remove that Jude from the equation. So Jude, Klopp wanted him, as we know, and he didn't join Liverpool Football Club. We then, as we've been hearing, we looked at Nicolo Barella, we looked at Moises Caicedo, we looked at the best of the best in that position. But once again, the conversation was what? We can't afford them. You know why? Because Italian reporters were reporting that the bid is going to start at 100 million euros for Nicolo Barella. It's going to start at 100 million euros. So do you understand the levels of players that we're talking about that Klopp was interested in? So we know for a fact that our manager wanted these elite players to join the football club. But once again, what was the excuse? As per usual, may I add, what was the excuse? Oh, we got no money, we can't do this, sustainable this, blah, 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 blah. And I'll be honest with you guys, this summer, I'm literally not looking at Klopp at all. I'm 100% looking at this ownership group because Klopp has shown the guy wants new players. The guy wants new people to come into this football club and make a difference and make an effect. You want to hear reality? Let me give you guys a reality, because there's a sum I mentioned yesterday. A lot of people might not realize this. Liverpool Football Club could spend 600 million without breaking FFP rules. Let me say that again for the people at the back. Liverpool Football Club could spend 600 million without breaking FFP rules. So Liverpool could sign Mbappe, Barella, Tchouaméni, and still have 200 million in the bank and still face zero consequences from FFP. Think about it this way. Chelsea just had a mad 6 months. All they had to do was what? Sell 60 million, 70 million worth of players, and they were good to go again. This is the position we got ourselves into because we have neglected this team over and over and over. And I see the excuses just never run out. My biggest problem with this, with the opposition, if you would like, because Kurdish don't like to say top reds. I love saying that because it triggers them. You look at the opposition, my biggest problem is the excuses just never run out. There comes a point in time in which excuses need to run out, but the excuses are not running out. 1920, it was COVID. Apparently, you know, COVID-19 only happened in Liverpool, the city. It didn't happen anywhere else, you know. That's where the only, you know what, but we said, okay, COVID, we get it, blah, blah, blah. The next season, okay, the season after that, and what Kurdish said is so true. Before I go to the super chat and allow him as well to express his emotions that I know he's feeling right now. If the likes of Kone and Thuram and Lavia and blah, blah, blah were signed last summer and the summer before and the summer before, one guy at a time, we wouldn't be in this position. The thing that pisses me off the most is people look at like the likes of myself and Kurdish and others in the comments and go like, you guys want us to sign Kylian Mbappe and you want us to ruin football. Like no. if you want to do Moneyball right all the way. Don't half-ass Moneyball.
But did you know one more thing, Sam, as well? I've always said this. That in itself is a problem. I don't need to be signing Mbappe or Jude every summer, but once every 3 seasons, a club, the biggest sporting institution in the UK, should be able to bid, Hussam. Yet we can't even go in bidding wars. I'm not saying that I want it every summer, but this is Sam. This is Liverpool. This is Liverpool. Do you know how big Liverpool Football Club is? Do
Massive.
people comprehend that? And I can't think about getting the best superstars. Does that? I don't understand how that just sits well with people. That doesn't sit well within me. I don't. If I was Newcastle, not even Newcastle, if I was Tottenham, it would sit well with me. I'm not a massive club. I'm okay. If I was Arsenal, hey, that's just my day-to-day life. That's just what I am. But I'm Liverpool. The UK, Hussam, is an economy, global, political powerhouse. It has so many empires. Wherever you go, you are, if not the biggest sporting institution, you are the second after United. You are 1 or 2, right?
Yes.
And you're telling me I can't even be in conversation for the best players in the world. I can't even just come to the table and say how much. Because as soon as you say how much, I know I'm out. That doesn't sit well with me. And like you say, I don't want it every summer, Sam, but I would like it once every 3 years.
100%.
I am Liverpool. Why can't I have it?
We should be able to. We really should be able to. And by the way, I said this yesterday. There's a difference between can't afford and not willing to spend. Elon Musk can afford a Ferrari. But if he's not willing to buy it, that's his problem. You can't come out and now convince me that Elon Musk is broke, because I know for a fact Liverpool Football Club is not broke as an institution. Who are you lying to? Liverpool Football Club broke? Are you mad? I've got clubs in the Championship spending more money than us. And you're out here telling me that I can't afford these players. You want to hear the reality? We could spend 400 million easily this summer and not a single. We won't be breaking FFP rules. There is absolutely nothing that will be happening to us. This is the thing which I don't understand. Anyway, let me just get to the super chats before we carry on with the rest of the conversation, because we still have a lot to talk about. And by the way, there's 400 people watching us. 400 people watching us. And I've got the pilot of the FSG Out playing. So make sure you guys are liking the video. Make sure you guys are subscribing right now. Like the video, subscribe. Minimum 200 likes. Erling Haaland conversion rate, 50%. Yalla, like and subscribe. Big up to Gary Paul, who says, man like Kurdish and Hussam. W's all the way. W, baby. Big up to you, Gary. Planes needed. This is actually a conversation me and Kurdish are going to speak about, later on in the show. And I'm sure we're going to speak about it privately as well, because actually Ryan kind of DM'd me, gave me an idea. But we will explore it, and best believe either first home game or second home game, there will be an FSG Out playing, because regardless, they haven't given Klopp his number 1 priority targets, and pressure needs to be felt. And listen, me and Kurdish and others,
unless Barella and Guardiola walk through the door.
Imagine Guardiola come out and he
With
literally
Barella.
publicly said he wants to join Liverpool, and our retort is we can afford him, when we know good and damn well we could buy him if we wanted to. Why are we lying to ourselves? When will we stop lying to ourselves as football fans of Liverpool, big Liverpool Football Club, and stop convincing ourselves we're broke? That's like, I have a dream speech I'm gonna give someday, to just like, can you please stop convincing yourself that the institution you're supporting is broke? Big up to you, Gary Paul. Big up to Sergeant Liberty, all the way from Bulgaria. After Moreno and Lovren, 14 is the last virus left. Damn. I mean, you're gonna get me in trouble if I say anything, but I would say thank you for the super chat, Liberty. Yeah, big up, my guy. I'm not even gonna say anything else. Big up. Jack O'Lantern says, lads, think if you can get 4 flat tires on your car, fixing one of them is enough to keep moving. No, you fix them all. Thank you. Which is exactly why yesterday I was talking about us doing this whole midfield rebuild should not stop us from buying a centre back, because we cannot end this transfer window without a centre.
You're expecting 2 midfielders and a centre back.
Yes.
You're in for a big shock.
No, I'm not going to be in for a shock. That's why I'm FSG Out, Kurdish.
Yeah,
but that's
very
what
true.
should happen.
Very true.
That's what should
not
happen.
going to happen. That's not no
Hey.
chance.
We're
We're struggling for Lavia at 40 million. What are you talking about?
Listen, it's life's difficult at this end, People really have convinced themselves we're broke. We really got the money. We just don't put it on the table, which is wild. Big up to you, Jack O'Lantern, man. Love for the super chat, my brother. And we've got 3 flat tires currently. We need 2 midfielders and a DM minimum. Big up to you, Jack. Will says, Ian Doyle says no official approach for number 14. Actually, I see you and Ian Doyle arguing on Twitter.
We had a little back and forth, and then I asked him a question he didn't like, and he stopped replying.
Yeah.
I asked him.
He offered you £3 if the newsstand is worthless.
Yeah, but then I went back to him and I said, can you tell me why the rebuild that should have took 24 months is happening in 6 weeks? And that's when he stopped replying. I wonder why. I wonder as soon as you ask him an intellectual question that might actually open him up and go against his views rather than answering it like a journalist with integrity. He just closes the door. But I don't expect anything.
Journalist with integrity, Ian Doyle?
Yeah.
Thank you, Will, for the super chat. Romulus says it's either prosperity or demise for... Oh, I've said this, and I'm sure Kurdish agrees. This summer, there is no middle ground. It's either we do what's required and we get back to the top, or we become a top 4 club. Let's just cut the crap. Let's just say it as it is. There's no need for us to play mind games and do all this BS. It's either Liverpool Football Club go back to the top or become a top 4 club. Simple as. That's reality. Why should we sit up here and act like there's a middle ground? Ain't no middle ground. Ozan says, big up Hussam and yo Kurdish. Is that a Kurdish statement?
That's Kurdish. Hey, Johnny Brackham.
What does that mean? Can you translate for the rest?
It says, hey, how you doing? And I
big up to you, Ozan, man. I appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat. Big up. Tyler Jones says, this window is so jarring. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Actually, I'm going to argue it's even worse. I'm going to say 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Because currently we're 6 steps behind because we need a DM, a midfielder, and a centre back. So we are behind. We're not even 1 step back. Because using your logic, we would be 2 steps ahead. We're not 2 steps ahead currently. Because we've lost Fabinho, we've lost Henderson, we've lost Keita, we've lost Ox, we've lost Miller. That's 5 that's gone out the window, just like that. And the one that remains is a player who's absolutely fantastic in Thiago. And I've already spoken publicly how I want him to stay, but he's also very injury prone. So like it's just such a lose-lose situation, the position we're in. It's honestly how I look at it is probably 1 step back, is 1 step forward, 2 steps back. I think we've gotten worse, if anything. I don't think we've gotten better at all. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be completely honest with this situation. Go on, Kurt. You want to say something?
100%. I think I tweeted it today. People are really underestimating how easily this Liverpool team will get cut open. If things stay as they are, Liverpool will be getting cut open worse than last season. And big up Felipe, man. But ever since I said Mane Salah,
you know what's mad, Kurdish? You know what I told them yesterday? You know why we're finished? Let me tell you why we're finished. We don't even need top 4 anymore. Remember, you do realize how bad we were this season? Had the Champions League rules been in place this season, we would be in the Champions League. Imagine how horrible we were. I just tell people, think about it for 10 seconds. Just think, give yourself 10 seconds of thought. Think how bad we were this season. We would have still qualified for the Champions League. Are you mad? Champions League football after being this shit. Imagine, man. Imagine.
We're in the trenches. We're so in the trenches.
We are. We really are. It really is war as well. It really is war.
Stuck in quicksand.
We are. We definitely are. Kurdish really has a good take, but his hazard take is correct. Big up Felipe, who's a Newcastle Bayern fan who continuously does Salah prop. Salah LFC are finished, so sell me Salah and threaten you get Mane and Pavard. LFC third in Europa League. Oh no. Oh hell no. Oh, I decline your offer, my brother. I hella decline that offer. I decline that offer till the days of declining. I'm good, bro. I ain't trying to have no Mane back. I'm good. And I'm definitely not trying to see Pavard at Liverpool Football Club either. So don't try to sneak Pavard in there like him and Trent are equals. Big up to you, Felipe, though. Thank you for the super chat. Anyway, 420 people are watching us. Big up to you all. We're going to carry on with the conversation. Big up to Gary, Liberty, Jack, Will, Romulus, Ozan, Tyler, and Felipe for the super chats. Big up to every single person who's watching us right now. Thank you all for tuning in. Big up everyone who has liked. Big up everyone who's subscribed. Big up everyone who has sent in super chats. Make sure you're sharing the video everywhere. Hit that share button. Share it on anything Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk own, whichever application. So share it everywhere. Hit that like button. Subscribe to This Is Football right now. 450 people people here, minimum 200 likes. So please do slap that like button, do subscribe to the channel. And kind of the conversation now is, pre-season has started, Kurdish. Pre-season has started. Or essentially it's going to start tomorrow, but let's just say, they're training in Germany already. We already know how our manager operates. He likes to have all his players in before pre-season so they could get the training in, they could do all of that. Where do you sit with our current situation, headed into, in my opinion, the most important transfer window of modern Liverpool history?
I have a bit of a label around me where I'm a bit of a doom and gloom merchant. But you're losing your most experienced 6. You've already lost 4 experienced midfielders. 3, sorry, Naby Keita, Ox, Milner. You're probably going to lose your captain if you're lucky. That's if you're lucky. Depends how things are. But if you are lucky, you're probably going to. So you've lost 5 midfielders, and actually, what you've lost is a big part of your core. And you've brought in a youngster in Dominic and one seasoned good player in McAllister. Let's call a spade a spade. You're thinking of bringing another youngster in. The midfield, Hussam, last year was a big problem, and we saw what happened in football. Your midfield is almost the core of your team, is your backbone, and you're not putting man in there anymore. You're putting kids in there for me. And I don't see how people are just casually thinking this. I'm not saying Fabinho. It's not so much about Fabinho, the play and the quality that he had, because he wasn't great last year. It's about how do you find a profile like him, because it's such a vital position. And I don't think you understand. Kids could be talented, but at 21, 22, Hussam, when you're going up against men in midfield, you're going to get bullied. You're going to get bullied. You can be as technical as you like, and you can be as much of a good footballer as you like. But in midfield, when they come up against KDB, Rodri, and Gundogan, there's only one winner, and it doesn't have to be how better football. It's just that they will bully you off that pitch. Experience, know-how. You're giving me a bunch of kids going into the season, and you're not even giving me anyone to back them up with. And the people you're bringing, you're not even giving me enough time to blend them in. Because as you say, I'm in pre-season. I have my first pre-season game tomorrow. So I've already in pre-season, I've already started putting patterns of play in. I've already started saying, Trent, you're going to move up or not. I need these players in to actually just tell them about the positioning I need them to pick up. But no, the league starts in about 3 weeks. And your midfield is weaker than it was last year. Your midfield is weaker than it was last year. I know we talk a lot about last year, it wasn't a top class midfield, but in general, that midfield for the last 3 years has been top 2, top 3 in the world. Your midfield is weaker than it was. And how did that end up for you last year? So all of a sudden you're thinking, okay, great, you've given me 2, but there's only so many kids you can have. It's a great attitude until his confidence is knocked and he's not playing the same. Do you know
This is
why we
actually
say?
time to see from
I know
Twitter, by
it's
the way.
time to see, but
This
do you
really
know
is
that?
him.
Do you know why that motto is incorrect? Because Harvey is that perfect example. Harvey is a great prospect, great youth player, but he had his confidence knocked, and you saw what happened to him. He wasn't the same for 3 to 4 months, and we don't know if he will come back. So you can't throw these players in and continuously ask them to play at the highest level weekend in, weekend out, because what will happen is it will knock their confidence if they have 1 or 2 bad games, which they should, because they're kids. That's the whole point why someone like Jude Bellingham goes to Dortmund, and he can go there and the media is off him. So even the most highest level and top young prospects need time to blend in. And they don't have any of that. And they don't even have preseason because you've not got them in, Hussam.
You know what's mad, Kurdish? There's something you said that's 100% true. And this relates to what I'm saying earlier, and I wanted to speak on it. My issue is, as a football club, if you do Moneyball correctly, it's actually successful. But my thing is, we're actually half-assing Moneyball. Listen, there are 2 types of clubs on earth. There's 3. There are selling clubs. There are clubs who buy youngsters, develop them, make them winners, or there are clubs who buy ready-made winners. There's no other types. This is it. There's 3 types of football clubs. Now our problem is we don't even do the Moneyball part correctly. Moneyball says buy Kone while Wijnaldum, Henderson, and Fabinho are there. Buy Thuram while X, Y, and Z are there. Buy this guy while X, Y, and Z are there. But we're all over the place. Because if you wanna speak reality, this is the harsh reality. Liverpool Football Club don't just need youngsters. We actually need ready-made players. But who are you gonna get that's ready-made right now?
Within
Who?
your price range. Within your
Who?
price range. They don't exist. There is no ready six within your
Edson
price range.
Alvarez has been the guy that's been mentioned.
Yeah, but he's not.
Kurdish.
Sam, he's a project.
Yes.
He's a project. He's not a Casemiro. He's not a Casemiro. You could say Fabinho was a project, but he wasn't. He was at Madrid. He was at Monaco. He'd played Champions League football. He was a season project. Same as Dominic, still a project, but season project. There is no season projects that you can get me within your price range.
None.
People aren't like these owners, man. The negligence.
But people say stuff
back.
like this. For example, Valverde should be a target. I agree with you. Call Real Madrid right now. Okay, 1 second. Call Real Madrid right now. Offer 50 million. They'll hang up the phone directly. Are you like LFC today? We agree with you, and I'm sure you agree with us. We're both on the same. But this is the stuff we're gonna get asked now. Check Decore.
And that's more realistic, sadly. And that's the one that we'll probably get instead of the other one. And that's Liverpool Football Club, Sam. And people think, oh no, it's okay as long as you get the right profiles. Oh, fucking Liverpool, get a grip. You're Liverpool. You're Liverpool. Get a grip. Get a grip.
This is it's insane, honestly, because it's like you could do the whole youngsters thing and do it right. By the way, you know who's doing the youngsters thing correctly? Real Madrid. They bought Camavinga while the three were there. They then went and bought Chouameni while the three were there. And now they bought Bellingham while the two were there. They rebuilt it smartly. So by the time Modric and Kroos are expired, they've got three ready-made players that are boom, gonna ready-made come in. But you know what our problem is? We buy Szoboszlai, we buy players like Lavia, we buy these youngsters, throw them into the deep end. By the way, which is exactly what we did to Bajcetic last season. We're the reason why Bajcetic is injured. Liverpool Football Club are the reason why Bajcetic is injured. It's no one else's fault. Because we threw him into the deep end.
We'd finish him by the time he's 23. If we could, we'd just play him every game. If he was that good and it didn't kill him, we'd just kill him. We'd have him restart by the time he's 21, 22.
It's insane, bro.
We're
like,
criminals, man. We're criminals. Our owners are criminals, and people don't see it. And it gets to the point where you think, they came out recently and just said, "Oh, we need big investment to stay at the top." And it's like they've told you themselves. They're telling you. That's you. Oh man, I'm tired.
How can you be pro FSG in 2023?
It's crazy. It's mental.
Honestly. Like based on what? Infrastructure? Is that it? I've been on Spaces with Kurdish for about 2 years. That's how long it's started. And I'm gonna address the super chats in a sec. But let me just say this. The season where it was the quadruple season, where we were doing the whole quadruple thing, it was extremely difficult to get a ticket to go to Anfield. And you can ask Kurdish the conversations we had on Spaces within each other. It was this easy to get a ticket for the last 6 months last season. The last 6 months, from January until May, it was this easy to get a ticket.
It was the easiest period in the Jurgen Klopp era since I can remember. I can't remember.
And if you add another season like that, where do we go from there? And then what?
Well, this is why I said to Bindola, I said, what use is the stand if you're not going to fill it out? Because your midweek games, I promise you, tourists aren't going to be coming to your midweek games. And Sam, them stands are built for the tourist. I keep going back to it. This is the irony of the top Reds. They hate the tourists and take the piss out of the tourists, but then praise FSG for the stands. And the stands are built for the tourists. They don't see the pattern, and I just think you're rooting for the thing that you're against, because fundamentally.
Before we get to the super chats, do you see a world in which this happens?
I hope not.
Or should I keep it till the next segment if you feel like you want to deep dive?
Yeah, we can go into that. That would be criminal.
Okay. Big up to you guys. There's 470 people watching us. Slap that like button, subscribe to the channel. We're gonna address these super chats. Make sure we get to 200 likes by the time we're done. Sultan says, I expect us to finish third, to be honest, and win Europa League. That's realistic. I hear you. I think that's a realistic expectation 100%. I'm not going to sit up here and deny it. I think that is 100% a realistic expectation. But, Sultan, my thing is, I refuse to align my expectations with what FSG want me to expect. Because if I align myself with that expectation, then all that's going to happen is I'm going to be happy if we finish fourth, which you will never, ever see me celebrate. Ever. Full stop. Big up to you, Sultan Manna. Shukran, Habibi. Sidi says, top Reds were laughing at the last plane, saying the money was being stolen. LOL, they're insecure. I'm terrified. We need more planes. Big up, guys. You know, Sidi, the whole plane thing. Let me just say this. First of all, for all the dumbasses, you know, which none are in the comment section, because I know every single person in the comment section is FSG out and they understand what's wrong with this football club. For all the dumbasses that would listen to this to hate on Kurdish, to hate on me, to hate on anyone related to the plane, we're not stupid. We know that a plane is not going to get John W. Henry to sell. Please understand that we understand that that's not the point. We're not flying the plane so John W. Henry is going to be watching on TV, see the plane, and go like, oh my God, I've got to sell the football club. We know that we don't live in utopia. We live in the real world. We understand that that's not the case. But we know it applies pressure. It applies pressure from all aspects, from all elements. Last time, we beat Manchester United by 7 goals to 0. We gave Man United their biggest ever loss in their entire history, and they still had Sky Sports segments talking about the FSG Out movement. What more do you want? Do you understand? We actually, probably from the FSG Out plane perspective, the worst thing that could have happened because we had a historic result and they still talked about it and they still discussed it. So who won at the end? Have you ever heard the Sky segment on FSG Out before the plane?
You know what's genius about it? Somebody said it and said, look at it from a business perspective for Sam. How much would a company pay to advertise being in all them channels and being the talk of the subject that everyone would talk about on a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, at least 3 days? A marketing company would pay thousands on thousands for that, you know. So we got exactly what we needed. We got it out there. We got the message out there. We got more people aware that, you know, because there'll be a lot of people who, Sam, internationally, locally, wherever it is, that would be on the edge. Maybe I am, but they're not. They maybe don't want to call it out because they'll get labeled the bottom red and all these things. And they see that and they go, oh, there's somebody else that's like that. There's somebody else, and it's just from them small things. I know John Henry ain't leaving. I know that. I know he's a venture capitalist. I know he's a leech. I know that. You're the one that defends him for being that. You don't need to tell me about John Henry.
And then they come tell us about the principles of the city.
The
It's crazy. Big up to you, Sidi. Thank you. Fuad sends in an empty super chat. Fuad, you repeated what I was about to see. I was about to put it up on the screen. I understood that you sent in the first one by mistake, but then you sent it again. Sorry for you sending it twice. I apologize, my brother, but thank you so much. I actually had the first one started. I was about to read that, my bro. Thank you for the super chat. He said top 4 club. If they fail to bring in 2 midfielders, 1 centre back, 1 centre back, full back, we're a top 8 club. Then Van Dijk, Salah leave next season, cementing our top 8 status for next 5 years. We are Crystal Palace, and so we will buy Doucouré. Kurdish, how's this whole Doucouré thing happened? Like, honestly,
you're in a market that you're spending between 30 to 60 mil if they have a release clause that's even better for you. This is what happens when you, Hissam, this is fundamentally what happens when you're trying to be too big for your boots. You know, you are Liverpool Football Club and your owners don't have the capital to match your ambitions. So you get in this position where the fan base thinks you should have the best and should be challenged for things. And these guys, they have the finances to say, okay, we can go either if they have a release clause or if they're potential.
I feel sick if we sign Doucouré.
Oh, but this is the market. A young potential. He's got potential. Young player. He's perfect. He's less than 30, 40 mil.
I actually genuinely feel sick. Like, it just makes me sick, honestly. Like, Liverpool Football Club. Like,
this is. Do you know what it is? I used to say the root cause is FSG. I really, as you can see by my energy, I'm quite tired of it. It's not FSG, Hussam. You know, everything has enablers. It's the enablers. As long as the enablers keep going on like they do, I can't be mad at John Henry. John Henry's coming and saying to you, I can't continue. I need investment. And if people still want to,
and you're still supporting him,
yeah,
for some reason,
you can't help that. What do you want me to do with that? Where do I go with that? So
That's,
if your
that's
team,
what I don't understand, honestly. Like, if the guy's publicly come out and said, I can't help this football club anymore, you're still out here supporting him. Like, what do you need for him to stop? Like, do you need him to, like, you find him in bed with your wife or something? Like, I don't get it.
he's told you. He's told you. It's crazy. And do you know what it is? People don't realize you are on the brink of going one way or the other. You're on the brink of going back to where you were, or you're on the brink of going into your banter era. You're on the edge.
Oh,
Believe it or
100%.
not, you are really on the edge of, because one more season, as the comment says, Salah and Van Dijk will knock on the door. Alisson will knock on the door. They may not leave, but they'll start questioning. That's what puts disharmony in the squad. So you are on the edge. You need to get it spot on this summer. And do you know why you need to get it spot on this summer? Because for the last 24 months, you've been gambling. You've been gambling and you've been doubling down, doubling down, doubling down. And all of a sudden, you've just now lost everything. Everything is gone. And you're thinking, what do I do? What do I do here?
This is the thing, like, I completely agree with you, and for me the thing that pisses me off the most is the fact that they've come out publicly and said we need backing and we can't run this football club, and still people are supporting them. It's just it's getting to the stage where it makes no sense. Honestly, it's actually pathetic. It's
But do
actually
you know
pathetic.
what it's about?
And
It's
by the
about
way, sorry, Curtis, the
ego.
point that you just said is something that I stick by, and I will fight anyone over this opinion. This is the most important transfer window in modern Liverpool Football Club history. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. I'll say it again. We are at a crossroads. There is no middle. Please understand, middle grounds are done now. There is no middle ground. We either go back to challenging or we become a top 4 club. Simple as. I'm sorry, I'm just going to break it down in reality. Top 4 club, Hey, Fuad, sorry if I say top 4 club. Top 5 club. Because now if we finish 5th, we get Champions League football. We either become a top 5 club or we challenge for the league. There's no middle ground. Simple as. There's no middle ground. We either do it or we don't. Andy says, lads, big up the channel, like and subscribe. Yep, listen to him. Like and subscribe right now. There's 500 people watching us. Welcome to prime time, Kurdish. I want to ask, who are you taking? Lavia, Palhinha, or Kimmich? Is age a massive issue? Oh, I know how I'd answer that, but let the guest answer first. Go on, Kurdish.
For me, that position, age is a massive issue. It's the one position I need a seasoned player in. I think people are forgetting how critical that part is. So, if out of the people you're giving me, Kimmich is what I would take, and he's not an out and out of what I need. He's not exactly what I need, but he's the closest. He's the closest, and if I get him in with somebody else next to him, he'll be the best. Lavia, I would love as well. He's the best project. Palhinha, I am someone who watches Palhinha every weekend. Believe it or not, I watch Palhinha probably the same as I watch Liverpool Sam, and I'm telling you, stay as far as you can away from that player. That player will not cut it at a top level. Whoever signs him, this is no agenda driven. It could be Liverpool, Arsenal, Man U. There's no horse at the moment. Palhinha at a top level will sink faster than you can envision.
So who are you choosing then if you had one choice out of those 3?
You know the Ocean Gate submarine? That lasted longer than Palhinha would at a top club level.
Damn,
Too soon?
you went there.
Too soon? Too soon?
So who are you choosing?
Too soon? I thought we'd gone past it by now.
Let's escape. Let's escape. Who are you choosing?
I'm choosing Kimmich followed by Lavia.
Same. Yeah. For me, Kimmich.
Too
absolute
soon.
number one.
I didn't think that was too soon.
Kimmich and Trent as a double pivot. Are you mad? No one would get the ball off of them. Do you understand? Like what would happen? Do you understand? Like, F the whole, destroyer thing. If I've got Trent inverting with Kimmich next time, I'm ruining every single team's life. With Szoboszlai and McAllister ahead of them, lock it off. As my brother from London on the spaces say, lock it off. It's over. It's finito. Khalas. Game, set, and match. I'm choosing Kimmich. And thank you so much for the super chat, Andy, and the love. Big up to Glenn who says, big up, guys. Hope you're both well. Hey, I'm sure Kurdish feels the same. Alhamdulillah, in real life, it's been real good. It's just about this bloody football club, man. It's just football. It's just the football that's having us down like this. But the rest of the things, I can't lie. Alhamdulillah, life's been good, bro. I'm going to be honest with you. It's just this specific thing that's kind of ruining it for us. But big up to you, Glenn, my bro. Thank you. Do you have any idea what the hell is takeoff? Kurdish?
I don't know. Selection, isn't it? It's selection.
I'm going to be honest with you. I can't wait. When my trust is gone, waiting is done. All this wait, this. Nope. I ain't going to wait for nothing. I'm going to criticize while it's happening because I've already seen bad endings. I can't lie. I think he means respect both of you. I do think your club will do great, especially with the replacements coming in. Also, if you think the DM market is bad, you're screwed when Salah leaves. The right winger market is dead. Hey, that right winger market stinks.
I believe in Harvey Elliott and Tom Little.
Oh,
Tom Little will do well on the right wing.
Tom Little is Ben Doak for the people who don't know.
For the people that don't know.
Thank you, Felipe, for the super chat. And listen, the DM market really is bad. Loki, I was thinking about it, kind of looking at all the players, and Kurdish said it earlier on. For what we're trying to buy with how much money, it really does stink. Now, if you make it 100 million, you get the Rices, the Shuamanis, the Kamavingas, you get the best of the best. But if you're operating the way you're operating, I can't lie. Cheikh Doucouré is probably the direction we're going to be headed in. So it's going to be a long day, Felipe. Hey, you as a rival fan are going to enjoy it this summer. But me and Kurd is going to be busy ranting on this channel. Big up to you, Felipe. And he says, what makes me laugh is Mr. Paul Machin probing Hussam about his thoughts on LGBT plus on a space, but not the same energy given to his hero, Jordan Henderson and Steven Gerrard on their moves. Andy, I'm going to say thank you for the super chat. And listen, I'll answer this because I know Kurdish is going to get real toxic with it. So I'm going to just answer this one myself. I'm going to say, look, here's the thing. People from across the world believe in completely different things. If you're a Christian living in the UK, the way morally you'd be different to a Christian living in Colombia, maybe to a Christian living in the US, to a Christian living in Nigeria. Some people maybe follow their religion more strictly, some people don't. And we're capable of pushing me and Kurdish and others, we're capable of pushing politics to the side and morals and opinions to the side because we support Liverpool Football Club. We're able to distinguish that football has nothing to do with all of these things. But people like the person you mentioned in your super chat refused to believe that because they thought when the whole Qatar takeover of Liverpool thing was happening that Qatar are going to come in and change the rules of the UK for some reason and suddenly govern over the city of Liverpool and make, you know, all people who don't agree with the Qatari way of thought just exit the club, when all they had to do was just go look at PSG, Andy. PSG didn't change the way Paris operated as a city. They just owned Paris Saint-Germain, the football club. And they gave the football club unbelievable success. And me and Kurdish and you guys wouldn't be so upset had we had Qatari owners, because guess what? We would have signed all these guys we wanted. Barella would have been a Liverpool player. Shuamani would have been a Liverpool player. Excited heading into next season, but no. Instead, we're sat here talking about bloody Doucouré as the replacement. Thank you, Andy, for the super chat. Morshin says, big up Hussam Kurdish. I have no hope for next season. Hey, Morshin, my brother, currently, I've got no hope either. So I will shake your hand and I'll say thank you for the super chat. We're screwed. We're screwed. Big up to you, man. Ozan says, Hussam, can we fly a plane saying, please, no Cheikh Doucouré? You know, I should have, honestly, the plane idea that I had, which is sign Jude or we riot, I can't lie, that would have been a banging plain, sign. But I think we got both signs correct. One is showing our support for Klopp and we're us being against FSG. And the second one is saying, like, look, you own 3 sports institutions and they all suck. So we know you're the common denominator. Simple as that. Big up to you, Ozam. Selection says, Kurdish, welcome aboard. I've been against Palhina links for time. If we hate hand on the ball, wait until you get a load of this guy. Selection, thank you so much for the super chat. And listen, when I mentioned Palhinha, let me just put this out there. I didn't mean Palhinha specifically. I didn't mean Amrabat specifically. I meant people in that age range. I don't want, unlike Tom Little, I don't want 5 22-year-olds to come in. That's what I do not want. I need someone of age. I need a Kimmich. I need a Palhinha. I need an Amrabat. Forget the player. I'm talking about the idea. Someone who is 25, 26, 27, 28 of that age. Not everyone can be a kid. Or at least maybe someone who is a bit younger, but at least experienced at the top level. Prime example, Declan Rice. Young on paper, in reality, very experienced. So that's just my thing. Like, we need someone with a bit of experience. And if you're asking me who, then that would be like, that's why I don't want to sell Fabinho. So yeah, big up to you, selection. And finally, Fuad says, Man United, Man City, Arsenal, Newcastle, Chelsea bring money to the table. 100% will be tough top 5 in 2 seasons. Jurgen leaves in 25-26. Who will keep coaching us to overachieve? That's the thing. As soon as Jurgen Klopp leaves this football club, we will realize the blessing that we had with him being the manager. And this is why I never turned Klopp out. Never. You know, the likes of Tom are FSG out and they wanted Amorim. And never me. I wanted Jurgen Klopp to stay at the football club because I knew that Jurgen isn't the problem. And this summer cemented that idea in my mind. This summer has never cemented an idea more in my mind than this, ever. Because I know Klopp wanted Jude, and I know Klopp wanted Caicedo, and I know Klopp wanted Barella, and hell, I even know Klopp wants Levi Colwill. So we know he wants all the expensive, finer things in life, but he's not being given it. It's as simple as that. Big up to you, Fuad. Finally, Allergy says, why is Kimmich so unrealistic, though? It's not unrealistic. I don't think it's unrealistic at all. 1 year left and Klopp can convince him with one call. The money we get for Henderson Fabinho and Phillips equals 60 million. Why not? Kurdish, you want to answer this one?
Because his wages. We don't do big wages. We're Liverpool Football Club. Can you imagine us being one of the biggest employers in your industry and you just don't do big wages? Just don't do that. Don't do it. We can't afford the best talent because we don't do big wages. But yeah, that's your problem with Kimmich. Great player, but you'll be looking at 250, I'd imagine, in wages. What's his current? Let's have a quick gander on his current wages.
Oh, Kimmich current wages?
Yeah, just have a quick look.
375 euros per week.
So about 250. Liverpool are paying him 250.
Nah, I can't lie. We know. Hey, Mo Salah had to break records for this football club to get 350 a week, and we made the biggest drama out of it as well. You know, so allergies. I guess that's a good enough reason. So yeah,
Mo Salah had to sacrifice the whole of Egypt for Liverpool, and they still had to break it back. What are we doing here? We're not Kimmich.
So look, I don't want to keep Kurdish for too long. I want people to be able to enjoy the replay. So we're gonna head into our final segment. Big up to Gary, Liberty, Jack, Will, Romulus, Ozan, Tyler, Felipe, Sidi, Allergies, Morshin, Selection, Glenn, Andy, Fuad, and Sultan for the super chats. Big up to every single person who sends in a super chat. All the people have shown us all the love and support. Make sure you're all liking the video. Make sure you're all subscribing. 500 people here. We ain't even on 250 likes. 50% minimum. Slap that like button now. Subscribe to the channel if you're yet to do so. Hit that notification bell. There's plenty of content coming your way. We're also doing an Onana, Hoyland, Rice, and Timber video later on. So we've got so much coming your way. Make sure you're liking. Make sure you're subscribing. And Kurdish, I asked you the question earlier. And it's time to ask you the hard-hitting questions, Mr. Pilot, Captain Kurdish. Do you see a world in which Liverpool Football Club sell Luis Diaz to get all of these targets?
No. And I hope I'm proven correct. It just makes no sense, especially the price being quoted. Unless you're giving me 150, we have to remember the winger market. I just saw Mudryk and Antony go for 100k or a million. So if they're going for 100 million, Luis Diaz is 3 times the player each of them is. I'm expecting 150 for me to blink. I'm sorry, that's what the market is. That's the market. If Mudryk and Antony are 100 million, Luis Diaz is 150. Look at them player-wise, Sam. Look at them, the difference in quality. However, I would not sell Luis Diaz. I think he could be a superstar. I think he's still got time, and I think he's had the season where he was injured. That happens. We shouldn't be here where we're selling our best players for a rebuild. What are we doing? What are we doing? We're selling best talents for a rebuild. Get that out of here. Where, Sam, the money is there. It's been there for Jude for 3 years. So what's happened to it? All of a sudden it's gone. Or was it just 100 mil? Was that the whole money? Was that the whole pot? I'm tired. From them.
They kind of told us, like, by the way, people blame me and others and go like, oh my God, you said Jude's coming. Bro, people like Paul Joyce said we're going to get Jude and 2 others. Where's all that money gone? Where's all that money? Can someone answer me? Where's all the money gone? They said we're going to get Jude and 2 midfielders.
Where's
And
the
weren't we
money,
promised a
Skylar?
war chest for the 4th season in a row? War chest summer? What
Where's
happened?
the money, Skylar? Where's the money, Skylar? If you know, you know. Big up Heisenberg. Tired
So where
of
do we go from here,
Turkey.
Kurdish, then? Where do we go from here?
Optimistic or realistic?
Listen, I don't want you to change your realistic answer just to appease people in the comments.
No, but there's also an
Say it
optimistic
as
side
it
of
is.
me.
We don't. No, we
No.
want to hear your real
No.
opinions. Say it.
Okay. My belief in Jurgen Klopp and my belief in the gaffer and my optimistic side says that Liverpool go for a title challenge and win 2 trophies next year, and we're fine. He'll work it out whatever happens. My realistic side is, unless you're spending, with the names being mentioned, unless you're spending 90 million on a DM or someone that can play a double pivot, and you're bringing me a centre back, I think you're in for a season where you're possibly finishing out the top 5.
Mm-hmm.
And do you know what it comes down to for me is the 6. I don't think people I don't think people quite comprehend the level of 6 needed to finish in the top 4. Lavia, as great as he is, whoever youngster you want to bring me, they're not going to cut it, man. Not at the top level for Liverpool Football Club, week in, week out. You need to be bringing in a player with top experience, either by age or by just playing Champions League football or playing week in, week in out with top level footballers, all these things. So that's where I am, and I do feel Liverpool should have probably gone out the mold in this one, where I really stand by, if the player doesn't want to be at the club, you sell them. I think because the way we've neglected ourselves and let this go and has become a specific situation, and the current situation of the market, I would have blocked the Fabinho move and just said you can move in 6 months' time, or maybe you can move at the end of the season, like we did with Coutinho. Do you remember when we blocked Coutinho? And I would have done that just because that gives you some time to let Lavia grow, or whoever you bring in, or maybe go back into the market in January. So that's what I would have done differently. I'm worried about next season. I wasn't as worried. I thought top 4 would be comfortable. With the 6 situation, Hossam, I worry about finishing top 4.
You know what I
top
told the
5.
people yesterday? The problem ain't even the starting 11. The problem is the squad as a whole. I don't know if you've kind of thought about it that way.
Yeah, it's just, yeah. You're 2 injuries away. I said it last week when I came on here. You give me a list of so many midfielders. If I break it down for you, you actually have 3 midfielders, two that are top to go. Because as I said to you, Thiago you can't rely on. Harvey Elliott isn't a midfielder. Curtis Jones is a gamble, as he's shown you before. McAllister and Dominic is what you've got. Now Fabinho's gone. Jordan Henderson you can't rely on. Even if he does stay, you can't rely on him. So you've got 2 midfielders you can guarantee that may, not even guarantee, but 90% say they're good to go. But Sam, you have 2 midfielders. It's like you didn't learn anything from last year, because that midfield is why you were so bad for so long. But again, you can see how tired I am, because I can shout about FSG all you like, Sam, but it's about the enablers. It's about the people that keep continuing. This is fine. And actually, I always say, what does it have to take for you to say enough is enough? And the answer is 3-4 seasons out of the top 4. Why do we have to get there? Why do we have to be out the top 4 for 3 to 4 seasons? Do you not remember when we were the banter club before Arsenal? There was a period we were the banter
I
club.
remember.
People forget this. Was that fun? Did we enjoy being the banter club? What are we doing?
That was horrible.
We are on the edge. We are like this, my friend. We are going to go one way or the other, which is back to a Klopp team, or we are going back to that banter for 3-4 seasons. And you are on the edge, and you got to make the right moves. And you've got 3-4 weeks to do it.
So I've heard you mention the enablers already multiple times. Can you expand on that a little bit? What do you mean?
What do I mean by the enablers? Look, I don't like doing top red, bottom red, but there is clearly a portion of this fan base. And it's not just about people who live in Liverpool, because geographically I've spoken to people in South Africa, I've spoken to people in India, and there are people who are also of that mold, where it's just, FSG good, FSG are good, FSG are good. You can acknowledge that FSG have been good, but it's time for FSG to move on. And actually, they will never do that. It's almost with Sam. You get to a point where things come down to ego rather than yeah, there you go. Than the actual change. So a lot of these people will understand that Liverpool need change and Liverpool's model now needs to grow and needs new owners. But because they're trying to hold on to their point and it's inflating their ego, they can't ever admit that. So what you do then is you clash and you clash and you clash and you have two sides of different forces because one is saying the things that we said 3 years ago are now being proven correct, but the other is saying, yeah, but if I agree with you, it shatters everything I've been fighting for 3 years. So when they've been saying we've been fighting with bottom reds and saying FSG are good, FSG are good. If now they say FSG are bad or FSG need to go, it shatters their whole belief system, Sam. Everything they've been fighting for 3 years. And from human nature and psychology, no one likes to do that. No one likes to be stripped down and told you're wrong. Everything that you've believed in for the last 3 years is wrong. Let me tell you why you're wrong. Because the minute you admit that internally and you say that externally and then tell it people, they say actually, oh, my own defense systems down. So you've stripped yourself. So everything for 3 years, and people don't like that, Sam. It's not a nice thing to happen where you've been because you're mentally defensive. All your defensive sides go up, and you think, why have I done that for 3 years? And they don't like that. So what they will do is they will lie to themselves. They will continue saying FSG are fine and FSG can sustain this, when FSG themselves have come out and said we can't sustain this. We need external help. So it's like you see it there and there's no acknowledging. And I don't know what you call that, but I'm sure there's probably a phrase for it where the answer is in front of you, and instead of acknowledging it because you're trying to protect your ego, you're just ignoring it, you know. And that's okay. That's okay. People's egos are fragile. Not everyone is good at self-reflection. Not everyone's good at saying I got things wrong. That's okay. That's okay. Just a shame that is the effects of my club and the club that we all support.
You,
Pick
you,
them
you
man up,
know what
man.
got to the
Pick them up.
stage where I said something, Curtis, that might upset some people, but I think that's the only way we're actually going to get some action. I said I hope FSG wake up tomorrow and make the price of one ticket like £150. That's the only way we're going to get any protests. That's genuinely the only way we're actually going to get an FSG out protest. If they actually make the increased ticket prices, or you're going to get protests. Or you're going to get so many people that are going to come out and speak against FSG because for that specific reason. And I think we get protests if that happens. That's the one scenario in which I see that happening, you know. So
People people don't realize you could have so many things external, so good ticket prices, seats, so on, so on. But the minute it starts going wrong on the pitch,
this, I've got a
everything.
delivery for you.
Why would you want LFC? Nobody's asking for LFC to go down the same route. That's the whole point. I could tell you just tuned in because if you after this, go back to the video, go about 10 minutes in, because what we do say is if Liverpool didn't start this midfield rebuild that's being done in 6 weeks, if they started it 24 months ago, like the fans asked, and made one or two additions, and you're not buying big stars or paying big wages, you're bringing young players, them young players would now be ready so you can transition out the older players like sensible teams too, and you're not spending stupid money in the market looking for a unicorn that doesn't exist. Instead, the owners neglected everything, and you're left in a position now where you're looking for multiple positions in the market. It doesn't have to be big money signings. All it had to be was at the right time, at the right time. When Genie left, you bought a ready-made placement in. When you won the Champions League, you bring a project midfielder in. Not this trying to plug multiple holes. Let's bring Arvieli in, who's a right winger, who's a cam, and who's a midfield. No, let's bring a midfielder in. And you slowly bed him in. And then the season after that, when you win the quad, which was last season, you bring another midfielder in, like all the fans asked for. But no, we were told we have 9 midfielders and they're good to go. Do you know what's funny? All the midfielders that were good to go last year, only one of them is going to be left at the club by the end of this window. What
Thiago.
does that tell you? What does that tell you? That tells you the project that should have been started 24 months ago, the rebuild, being done in 6 weeks is nothing but negligence. Nothing but negligence and lack of planning right from the top. And a little bit of
and by the way,
and a little bit of
summarize
arrogance.
to summarize what Kurdish is saying, do Moneyball correctly. Like, if I'm being honest with you, just do Moneyball
And arrogance, by the way, Hussam. A little bit of arrogance as well. A little bit of arrogance.
100%. Like, you know, this is something I mentioned earlier on. People think that we want us to just spend crazy amounts of money on cripple the club and all. Like, no one's saying all of that. Just do Moneyball correctly. Sign Kone last summer. Sign Thuram the summer before. Sign blah, blah, blah the summer before. Step by step. Like, you don't have to just wait and do it all in one summer. You know, I think that's definitely a mistake. Big up to Terry Tibbs, who says, I've said it once, I'll say it again. FSG are a development owners. They come into a failing club and steady the ship. That's it. They are not long-term owners. FYI, Terry Tibbs, like James Redmond, like Tom Little, is Scouse born and bred who's FSG out. So when you spread this agenda that only foreigners want FSG out, you're actually misrepresenting Scousers to begin with. You're misrepresenting the locals to begin with, because there are so many that are FSG out. You just don't interact with them. You just don't speak to them. And what are you going to get? What are you going to tell Terry? Have you ever been to Anfield? He's from Liverpool. Of course he's been to Anfield. And, you know, I've always said this just to add on to your super chat, Terry. Thank you for it. I think as Liverpool fans, the biggest problem, the biggest mistake that happened at Liverpool Football Club was Hicks and Gillett. Because it now gives everyone PTSD that this could be worse. So be careful what you wish for. So that's it. That's the bottom line. Big up to you, Terry. And finally, Dojo. Is that Dojo or Dajo? Dajo. Pearce was right. We need the Super League. Damn. Pearce was right. If Saudi keep like this for the next 5 markets, they will be ahead of Europe. No more oil clubs, oil nations. Do you see that happening?
It's interesting. I did ask the question. I don't think they could ever become the main spot, but I could definitely see them being one of the top 5.
Yes,
you know,
I agree.
I could definitely see that. Definitely see that.
I don't think they'd become better than La Liga or the Prem. Those two for sure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you. The rest they could beat.
The rest are
beatable.
are there. Yeah.
The rest are beatable. Like
Maybe,
I think
maybe Serie A is safe too. I think Serie A is safe.
fair. You know what it is. You look at Saudi. You know what Saudi is doing? Saudi aren't buying players like who are finished 38 and done. They're buying Ruben Neves. They're buying Jota from Celtic.
They just went for
Diaby.
Diaby.
Musa Diaby. Seko Fofana. They're buying they're buying Prime. They're buying Young. They're buying players like Benzema. Bro, Benzema this time last year lifted the Ballon d'Or. Like, you understand? Like, you're talking about...
Saudi said, you guys have got issues with sports washing. That's fine. We'll just take the sport away from you.
We'll wash there.
You've got a problem with us taking over your clubs? No problem. We'll just take every player you have into our clubs.
And by the way, as Albert said, thank you, Dejo. They're even asking to buy Luis Diaz, Milinkovic, Savic. Thank you. You're giving own examples. I think they could easily become a top 5 league. Terry says, I live 5 minutes away from Anfield. Hicks and Gillett started this. Oh, I agree completely. Oh, Hicks and Gillett. Listen, as much as me and Kurdish hate FSG, we recognize that Hicks and Gillett were way worse. But I think that's what plays into
That's not my standard. Yeah, and that's
exactly.
not my
standard. 100%. That's what plays into FSG's pockets. That's what plays into FSG's mindset. They hit jackpot. They owned after Hicks and Gillett, who were objectively the worst ownership group. You know, Hicks and Gillett are Mike Ashley level. So, like, no matter what FSG done, they would have said thank you.
I would argue Hicks and Gillett are top 3 worst owners, Premiership era. Top 3 easily.
Anyway, we're gonna wrap it up here, so the guys who can watch the replay can watch it without watching a whole movie. Big up to every single person who tuned into this, and we promise you, as the season comes close, we're gonna plan a FSG Out plane, so stay tuned for that. We're gonna announce it inshallah on this channel or on Twitter. So we're gonna have a conversation regarding it. Make sure you go follow Kurdish on Twitter, follow me on Twitter as well. Big up to Gary, Liberty, Jack, Will, Romulus, Ozan, Tyler, Felipe, Sidi, Terry, Dejo, sorry, Allergies, Morshin, Selection, Glenn, Andy, Fuad, and once again, sorry to you, Fuad, Sultan, and every single person who's sending in a super chat. All the people have shown us all the love and support. Make sure you're all liking, make sure you're all subscribing to This Is Football. Remember, we're going to be back at 11:30 p.m. UK time to talk about Onana, Hoyland, Rice, Timber. We're actually going to talk to football clubs who spend a whole lot of money when they need it. Fuad sends in one more super chat. Big up to you with 5 subs and 1 concussion sub. You keep 1 in reserve for injury. Modern top class teams need a starting 14-15 with no drop in quality. We don't have that. And Fuad, this is what me and Kurdish said earlier on. My problem and his problem is I've got no problem with Szoboszlai, McAllister, and Thiago, Szoboszlai, McAllister, and whoever. The problem is one of them get injured. You need to, God forbid, you need to rest one of them, and suddenly you're looking at a Bacchetic or an Elliott or a Jones who are young and inexperienced and could mess up at any point in time. Szoboszlai is young, but is experienced because he's played Champions League football at the toppest of top levels. So this is the thing. This is why I say sometimes you could be young and still have experience. That's the difference for me. And our squad is definitely not good enough. That's why I want us to buy 2 mids, not just 1. Big up to you, Fuad, man. Thank you so much. Yeah, so as I was saying, make sure you're liking, make sure you're subscribing. Kurdish, Akhi, where can people find you?
It's KurdishBall93 on Twitter. Keep an eye out for the YouTube. There is something coming very soon. Very soon. I know I've been saying it for a long time, but yeah, something is coming very, very soon. And as always, subscribe to This Is Football. Hits all the likes, man. The Don is constant. The work rate is all the time. He's doing a lot for you guys. So yeah, man, make sure you're always tuning in. But yeah, catch me on Twitter, running Jordan Henderson agendas every day. Every day.
Big up to you, Kurdish, man. See you guys later. Yes, for all the people who are hating on the Batman hat, it is indeed still there. Khabib has suddenly appeared. We'll see you guys at 11:30, inshallah. Peace out.